we also got the return of the legend, Fedor Emelianenko, who will be fighting again in Bellator. Is it agreed on?
Yeah, it is Bellator. I can't remember which the number of the Bellator event. That'll be in Moscow, October 23rd.
Yes. Oh, yes. So Timothy Johnson, it will be October. Yes, in Russia. Now we all know Fedor Emelianenko has been one of. If you were to take the pioneers of the sport, he would definitely be up there. And there was at one point where he was considered the greatest fighter in the of all time in MMA. Sorry, he was considered one of the greatest fighters of all time in MMA, and he was definitely in the argument as one of the GOATs. If you could say if I could say top 5, I would have to say he was one of them. It was just for the sheer amount of competition that he fought, and he was known for being the guy who would fight people like way above his weight class, fighting multiple times in one night. He had a professional record of 39-6. His last fight was against Quinton Jackson, which was at December 29th, 2019. And since then he hadn't fought, but before that he also fought Ryan Bader in 2019. Let me ask you a question, Jack. Do you really feel like this fight is necessary, considering he's now 44 years of age?
I don't know. Like, Fedor's just... he's one of those heavyweight legends out there, right? Especially, in MMA. The Russians love him, and, he's been active for such a long time. Again, it's not the same level of competition, to be fair. He's fighting like an older Chael Sonnen, an older Rampage Jackson, people that have passed their prime. It's not the same level of competition as, the UFC and things like that, but I don't know. Anytime that Emelianenko would fight, I'd go watch, right? Just because it's him. I don't know if I rate his opponent though. Tim Johnson, ex-UFC fighter, mixed success in the UFC, to be honest. His most notable win is Marcin Tybura, who's now, I think, number 9 in the current UFC rankings. Other than that, he was mainly a win-loss guy. He's had a few split decision wins and losses in there. Came to Bellator, wasn't, he lost. So his last fight, he's lost to the interim Bellator heavyweight champion. I've got to get his name right, Valentin Moldavsky. Before that, beat Chet Congo, who had previously lost to at his debut in Bellator. Beat Matt Mitrione, who was ex UFC star coming off the Ultimate Fighter. Other than that, there's no notable wins to me that come out there and scream, all right, he can fight Fedor. So to me, it looks like Fedor has been given an opponent that most likely he will be the most advantageous against. Yeah. So I think Fedor will knock the fuck out of this guy.
Well, they're trying to do it in any way they can to make it fixed towards Fedor, but that pretty much Timothy Johnson is about as far as he can go, really. Yeah. In terms of caliber of a fighter he can handle at this point in time. Yeah. It's just, I don't know why he needs to even fight again. You already have finished on a win against Quinton Jackson, who was, the heavyweight champion at one point. So, it just doesn't make sense to me why they're doing this. Maybe he's got that competitive itch.
Fedor was looking for a fight, and there was a few names getting thrown out there. It's just weird. To be fair, Tim, he's number 2 in the Bellator rankings, in the heavyweight rankings, right? But they can fluctuate quite a fair bit because of their Grand Prix kind of style of fighting. Perhaps they are giving him Tim Johnson because it seems like a fight that puts him in an advantageous position that if he really wanted to, if he beat Tim, which I think is going to occur, he could have another fight that could maybe set him up for a title fight, and then he's done with his career. Get Bellator gold, and then he's done. Yeah. Because, he's done Strikeforce. He's been in Bellator. He's been in Pride. He's been everywhere.
Yeah. Either she has. Yeah.
So, for him to be 2-time Bellator champion, that would be massive, and
Yeah.
that's another tick against his name. So,
I just don't see him happening though. I don't see Fedor becoming champion in Bellator at all.
yeah, the level of competition has just risen again.
Yeah.
I mean, again, he beat Ryan Bader. I mean, Ryan Bader, like he's
well, he lost to Ryan Bader.
Oh, true, he did. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, to beat Ryan Bader is sorry, for Ryan Bader to beat Fedor, Ryan Bader is like high level competition. Yes, ex-UFC star, but he was a 2-division champion in Bellator, right? I mean, then later gets Frank Mir, Chael Sonnen, and then Rampage Jackson. They know where they're going with this. They're giving him ex-UFC stars that have a notable name, and now they're bringing out Tim Johnson, who a lot of people probably won't know off the top of their head.
Yeah.
So I think I know what they're doing with this fight. I don't know. What do you think?
I feel like, again, then maybe they just want to give him 1 or 2 more just because he's itching to get a fight, and then I believe they're just going to keep giving him all these fighters until eventually he either gets bored or he loses and had enough, really. I kind of feel like what they're doing. I just don't see the point in, like, what are you trying to achieve, man? Like, because if you keep going down this road, then you're going to find someone who's just going to put you away, and then you're going to finish your career on a loss, or you just you're going to keep sustaining all this damage, and you're getting much, much older, especially when you're in your 40s as well, and you want to fought so many times against absolute killers, especially in heavyweight division where those guys just got all that dynamite in their hands. It just doesn't... I don't know. I feel like if he wins, okay, good, you're going to have a win in your loss, and you can just move on now. But if he loses, I'm like, well, you're the guy who had it all, came back and lost to someone who really kind of wasn't really that great. You know what I mean?
I mean, before his fight with Rampage Jackson, he was contemplating retirement. I got to double check. I didn't mean 2-time Bellator champion. I was mixing up Pride with Bellator for a second.
Yeah.
But with Fedor, like he before his fight with Rampage Jackson, he signed a new deal with Bellator, right? And it was like a new multi-fight. But whenever they say multi-fight, they never tell you how many they've got left. Right, and it doesn't really. They can still have multiple fights on their contract, and it doesn't mean he still has to fight. He could just retire. But how many fights did he, ask for on that contract to start off with? I'd like to know, because he's fought Rampage. Now he's fighting Tim. If he beats Tim, will he retire, or will he somehow slide into the rankings in Bellator and then try and go for gold one more time? To try and get that Bellator belt. These are the questions that go through mine, but I still think Fedor runs through Tim.
Yeah.
I think Tim's 36 years old.
Yeah.
Ex-UFC star, is a bit of mixed success. Not as high-level competition as Rampage Jackson, Chael Sonnen, etc. So I think, and Fedor dealt with those guys pretty well.
Yeah. I don't feel the fight going distance at all. I feel like it's going to be done in the first couple of rounds.
I reckon second round KO.
I reckon
Second round KO.
I reckon the first round KO or